Welcome to Calming the ADHD Family, a summit on brain hacks for a calm, confident, connected family. My name is Lara Dawn, and I am your host. I am an ADHD warrior mama to two amazing neurodiverse boys and the founder of the ADHD Village. Do you wish that your teen could improve their mood, motivation, and focus? Do you wish that they could have an easier time accessing their working memory so that they could be better problem solvers? What if I told you that there was a simple solution for this and it is absolutely free? In this interview, we will learn how to hack a natural chemical in our brains, dopamine. And our expert is Kelly Biltz. Kelly is a certified ADHD teen life coach, and teens are her jam. She partners with high schoolers who need someone in their corner. Kelly, welcome. It's such an honor to have you here today.
Hi, Lara. Thank you so much for having me. And hello to everyone watching. Thank you for being here.
Kelly, I just absolutely love your work. I'm a big fan of yours. I love how you support teens, and I'm so thrilled that you're a part of the ADHD Village as our teen expert. Can you share with families a little bit about yourself and what you do to help teens?
Yeah, so my name is Kelly Biltz, as Lara said. My website is Teens with ADHD, so original, right? And I am a mom of two teenagers who are 17 and 15. They're juniors, a junior and a freshman. And I've basically, a couple of years ago, just niched down in my business and started working with teenagers. One, because I love this age. It's crazy they all make me. Speaking of mine. And also because I recognize that there's a big need for teens to have someone in their corner outside of their parents for the academic school year. There is a lot to navigate with hormones and wanting and striving to being independent and mood swings. And sometimes, even though we as parents really see it all unfolding, we may not be the best person to get their kid across the line, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I work with high schoolers.
And
I love my clients, though. You know, I love my clients. I love my teenagers.
I joined one of your group calls once with your group of teenagers, and the work you do with them is amazing. And they were all able to explain strategies that they use. They understand the importance of dopamine. So
Yes.
maybe you can let the audience know, why is dopamine so important for teenagers, especially teenagers with ADHD?
Right. And I think I love that we're talking about this because knowledge is power. And when you understand neurologically what's happening with your teenager, it makes a lot of sense. Maybe make you frustrated, but it makes a lot of sense. So ADHD is caused by low levels of dopamine. Okay. So in order to get the dopamine fix, if I may, the dopamine, let me step back, I call it the gas that fuels our executive functioning, our frontal lobe, right? Gas fuels it, gets ready, gets going, right? So there's a lot of ways of getting that dopamine. One is by medication, and others is by having what I call these little adrenaline rushes of getting a win. So I share that with my teenagers because, as we all know, ADHD doesn't necessarily go away as we age. It will be present with them. However, managing it and understanding when you're feeling really unmotivated or just, little moody and not wanting to get out of bed and procrastinating, if I may, one of the best things that our teens can help them do for themselves is figure out what will help them get started, right? So many of these teenagers have a very difficult time getting started because it seems so overwhelming. There's so much to do. It's so hard, right? So when you understand that neurologically that's what's happening, some of these kids are coming off their meds, so that doubles the trouble, if I may, that it's really, really super hard to get them back on track and have them focus. So when you think about focus and dopamine helps the executive functions, which helps your focus, which helps you get started and not procrastinate.
And so kids with ADHD, individuals with ADHD, we have an imbalance of dopamine. And that's why the stimulant medications, that helps to balance out the dopamine.
Exactly.
And like you said, the dopamine's like the gas that goes to the prefrontal cortex, which is where all the executive functioning takes place. Like you
Right.
said, that getting started, the motivation, the focus, that getting that working memory going, the problem solving. That's the part of your brain that helps you make all your decisions, analyzing social situations.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if you're not getting that gas to that front part of your brain, you're not going to be
It's like,
able to.
yeah, so it's like, how do I, if that dopamine hit isn't there, your executive function prefrontal cortex is maybe only working at 50% capacity. So think about that. 50% capacity. It's going to be even harder to get all this other work done if you're not running on full, right? Like a full gas tank, if I may.
And a prefrontal cortex takes 25 years to develop.
Yeah,
So these
unfortunately.
teenagers, even though some of them are bigger than us,
Yeah, my.
their brains still are not fully developed.
They're
So
not.
we've got brains that are not fully developed and they're not getting the dopamine to turn on those executive functioning skills. So they're really at a disadvantage if that's the position they're in.
Yes,
So we want to teach them how to boost up that dopamine.
yes, yes, yes,
So this is why you teach your teens to create a dopamine
yeah,
menu.
yes. So we have dopamine. We have a lot of different menus in my teen world, but the dopamine one I feel is one of the more important ones, just for that reason. So many of the hurdles have to do with just getting started. So when you have a little win and you're feeling a little bit better about yourself and you have that dopamine fix, we're looking at getting started and what that means for each of my teens and for each of us, if we think about it, is something different. So some of you want me to share like ideas of what that dopamine
Yeah.
is? Okay.
Yeah.
And what I do whenever I'm working with them is, how are you going to remember this? Because this is like your unique self-awareness person strategy to get you going, right? Like I can't tell you what mine is. We got to figure out yours. That's really in essence what coaching is, finding their best self and their best practice. So dopamine menu is one of the big menus that I work with my teenagers. Ideas could be going for a walk, getting outside, shooting some hoops when you're making like 3 in a row or something, or 3-pointers or something like that. Obviously you can tell I have an outdoorsy kind of kid, because his dopamine is going to shoot hoops and do something physical, like go out and play football or something. It can be coming home and organizing your backpack. It could be getting your workspace organized and get prepared to work. It could be pulling up your Canvas, your Schoology, your Google Classroom, and looking at everything and writing something down, whether it's in your notes, whether that's on a planner, on a sticky note, what have you. But being able to get that, okay, I see everything. All right, I've written it down. I've got that. Some of my teenagers, they love to cross things off. So one of my girls texts me every week with her list that she wants to do. And then so she has her little, 8 things done, 3 still to do, but she gets her little dopamine fix, right? By crossing stuff off. I get that as well. I love that. I'll even like walk around a grocery store and put something in like a ketchup, even if I'm in that aisle, so I can like say, yes, I got it done. Like those kind of things, right? A lot of teens have pets. Pets are a great, like my son comes down every morning, first thing he does, and when he comes home, before he even says hi to us, he comes into the dogs and gives them attention. A lot of these, don't ever underestimate your pets and how they're also part of self-care, right? These animals that are so loving, and you can lay with them, what have you. I have a girl, she showed me her pet rabbit this morning. I didn't know she had a rabbit. She has a pet rabbit, takes good care of it. So when we spend time with our like four-legged friends, it's huge. It's very important. I have another girl who is really big into makeup, and she has a lot of it, which is great. And she has decided for her dopamine menu that she's going to work for 20 minutes, then organize her lipsticks. Because she loves, like, she likes how it laid out, color coded, what have you. Something that you can do to accomplish a step to make you feel really good about yourself. If you're a gamer, go down and play a 20-minute Madden game, right? Get your fix there, or scroll on social media, see what's in your stories, respond to a couple things, 20 minutes, boom, get that fix, and then get ready to go.
I love what you mentioned about the girl who works for 20 minutes and then she organizes her makeup for 5 minutes. That is such a great strategies for teenagers to focus on their schoolwork for 20-25 minutes. And then they have
Yes.
a 5-minute break doing something they love.
Yes.
That's a reward.
Yes.
That's a reward for their brain.
Yes. So that's their study cycle menu, right?
Yeah.
Like, what works for you, where it's your, and when we do that, it's sort of similar to the Pomodoro, if I may, because I ask them, I'm like, how long can you work non-distracted, right? With no distractions. If you put your phone, turned it off, turn it away, shoved it away, put it so you don't see it, and you have a self-control to not click on YouTube, how long do you think you can work? Most of them say 20-25 minutes, and that's perfect. Exactly. My son has a 23-minute attention span, like, proven, right? And then I always tell my teens, okay, so plan your distractions. Plan that time when you're on your phone. Go down and play a quick game. Go hang out with the dog. The dog can be a distraction too, right? Like, that's how my teens are staying on track and managing their time and being more productive, because they're realizing that when you work in small, because if you think, shorter amounts, oh, I can study for anything for 20 minutes. That's a cakewalk. Exactly. That's what you want. And then you're going to keep coming back, and you're going to retain and recall that information much better than when you just sit for an hour, which that's not happening.
And you're getting
Might be
that
sitting for an
dopamine.
hour, but you're going to be on everything else at that time too.
Yeah.
Right?
And you get that dopamine hit every 20 minutes when you give yourself that 5 minutes, like a reward for doing the work. And the more that your brain is rewarded, your brain loves reward, the more it wants to keep doing whatever it was doing to get that reward again. So there's the motivation.
Yes. Yes. And it's really, one of the challenges is remembering that, having the teens remember what they need to get started. And if you're listening to this, don't assume that your teen will remember even something that was talked about or worked on 2 weeks ago, right? Gentle reminders. What do you need to get started? What is that thing in that chemical that you know about, right? Like, what are some wins? So that's one thing you can ask your teenagers, like, where can you get a quick win? Maybe it's just checking off algebra problem, right? Maybe it's writing an intro paragraph. A paragraph is five sentences or something. Like, where can you get that quick win? That's a great question to ask your teenagers to help them be like, okay, I can do that. And then they'll feel better about themselves and they'll feel more confident.
Feeling better about themselves is important, because I think they often get very overwhelmed with all the things that they have to do. And they may feel like they're not getting anything accomplished, or they've had too many negative things happen in their day. But taking the time and asking them to reflect, like, what did you do well today? What are you proud of today? And letting them feel into that.
Yes.
That will
It's
give them
really important. And one of the things that I ask my teenagers each week is, what worked well for you? Where was your win? Because each time they set little small step goals, right? Nothing big, small goals, baby steps. And so obviously, as an accountability partner, as you and I are, as coaches are, right? So last week you wanted to, boom, how did you do with that? What was a little win that you noticed about yourself? And just friendly prompting, right? Helping them through, oh yeah, I did that 2 days. Great, that's a win, right? It's amazing how quickly our teens forget, and it's amazing how quickly they focus on the negatives. Unfortunately, I've talked about that a lot. And even the one girl who I was sharing, she texts me her to-do list every Monday before I meet with her. She always focuses on everything that she didn't get done. I'm like, you completed 80% of your work. But it's amazing how much she's focusing on the 4 assignments that didn't get done.
Yes. Our
And it's
brains are
heartbreaking.
wired that way. Our brains are wired to focus. Our thoughts, 90% of our thoughts are automatic and they're negative.
Yes.
And it's even more so in the ADHD brain. We've got, glitchy switches where we kind of get stuck in the negative. So really helping our kids to find the positives in themselves
Yes.
and to focus on that
Yes.
is really helpful for them.
I said to one of my teenagers, she just got a ton of stuff completed and she was just really happy with herself. I said, so how are you going to reward yourself? What are you talking about? It almost made me cry. She's like, I have no idea why. All I do is work. All I do is study. All I do is my homework. And I said, well, I'm about rewarding. And I feel like we get, if I have a good day, I'm going to do something for myself and you're working. So I gave her a goal, which is sort of taboo in the coaching world. But I'm like, next week, come to me with your self-care. Tell me your rewards and what you're going to do for yourself. And it took her 2 weeks to get back to me on that. And that really made me sad because it's so easy to focus on everything that's not being done. And as parents, I know I'm guilty of that as well. Focusing on, oh, have you done this? Have you done that? Is your backpack organized? Well, no, it's not organized. Look at all these loose papers kind of thing. I don't, like you said, it must be second nature or something.
It is. Yeah. So we have to train our brains.
Yes.
We have to really focus on squashing those negative thoughts because often they're not true. Like a teenager that has a thought like, I'm not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that's not true, but they believe it. So we've got to help them to understand why that's not true and what do they want to believe and how can we help them notice all the wonderful things. And
Yes.
if anyone has done the 21-day baddest challenge that I offer for kids, on the first day of the challenge, we talk about celebration. And celebration's so powerful. It's so good for your brain. And when you celebrate, your brain is releasing endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocins, all these really feel good neurotransmitters are being released. And when that's happening, cortisol is being suppressed. So your brain can't release dopamine and all these feel goods at the same time that it releases cortisol. So such a great stress reliever is to celebrate. And a celebration could be as simple as, like you said, crossing something off your list. That feels good. Gives you that dopamine hit. Or even just like, yes, I've got one page of homework done.
Yes. I said to one of my girls today, because she's got a busy week coming up. And I'm like, give me your affirmations. I'm like, I am, and you tell me. And it was so good. And she was like, I am great. And I'm gonna knock this out of the park. And I'm a great field hockey player. I'm like, yeah, you are. Keep saying it. I want you to believe it. And I don't want you to tell me what you think I want to hear, because I know all these great things about you. Right. So having her say it, and she was like, I get it. I am better than everyone else. I'm like, yes. Right. I'm like, you're my girl, honey. Like, yes, that's what I want. So when you focus on or helping them, and you said about mindsets and training, I feel like half of what I do with some of my teenagers help change their mindset into a growth mindset and not be stuck where they are. Most of my kids are getting in their own way and they know it. And it's like, so how are you going to get out of your own way? Like, who's going to show up this week? Right. But it is so challenging to switch the mindset when they're hunkered down in that, like,
And it's interesting because your brain believes whatever you tell it.
Absolutely.
So if you're telling yourself, I can't do this, this is too hard, I stink at this, your brain's going to believe it. But like you said with that girl, yes, I can do this. I'm amazing. Like, tell your brain those things and your brain will believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've said to my part of my program is I also meet with, I have the parents monthly, right? A group just to touch base. And I've said to them, I said, you realize that your kids are training themselves to not do this stuff because they're so used to hearing it. They're training themselves that it's hard. They're not going to be able to keep their assignments on time. They're not going to make it through because that's the language they're using with themselves. And they're literally training themselves to think negatively.
Mhm.
And that is a very challenging, it's a constant, what do you know about yourself? What are your strengths to get you through here? You know, having them reroute their thoughts. And PS, if your relationship is like on the brink, so you're always like this, they're not going to listen to you,
Mhm.
unfortunately, even though we are redirecting and helping them see the positives and helping them understand their strengths to get through and get their work done.
So how can parents encourage their teens to get started and encourage them to create a dopamine menu?
So asking them, like, what is a win? What makes you feel that really good about yourself? Um, and if they need to understand what that is, tell them it's when you get a nice comment on social media, or whenever you like won FIFA game, right? Or whenever you leveled up, or somebody complimented you. That feeling, like help them understand that feeling. That's that dopamine. So I would say help them understand that feeling just by what I just, somebody gave you a nice compliment. You're like, oh, yay, right? That makes me feel good. And then what was your, sorry, I got sidetracked there. What was your question?
How can parents encourage their teens to create a dopamine menu?
So asking them, like, have them write down whatever that is. It can be 5 things, it might be more, it might be 3, and then put it somewhere. Have them put it somewhere where you see it, whether you take a screenshot of it or something, or a picture of it, but you want it to be where these kids can see it and remember it and know what they need. Ultimately, we're working on them to be independent, to get started, to do the work. The missing link is how. And when they have it in front of them and realize, oh, that does make me feel really good, I'm just going to go and do that. And then the goal and the expectation is that they can start with some of their work and break it down.
So for example, if they have shooting hoops as something on their list that makes them feel good, like when they get 3 baskets in a row.
Like, how
So
many baskets make you feel really good? Like, what do you want, right? Do you want to go out and shoot 10 and then come in? Good by me. You know yourself, right? One of those. If you want to, pick up 10 items of laundry that's on your floor. Maybe you want to hang up 4 blouses. Maybe you want to just put your laundry away, or maybe you just want to pick it up and see your floor.
mhm.
Literally. That could be a win. Oh, now I have my space. Or maybe you want to organize. Maybe you want to get some new, or just get all your stuff color coded, or put out your pretty markers so that you can write in your planner. Those little fixes feel really, really good. It's different for each one. So have them write it down and ask them, what do you know about yourself that could help get you started?
Mhm.
And you want them to say, oh, I'd feel really better if I can do boom, boom, boom.
Yes.
Right?
So if
It's
they're
an
having a hard
episode.
time, doing their homework or starting their homework or staying focused on their homework, doing something that's going to give them that hit of dopamine
Mhm.
and then
Chances
getting
are,
back to
yeah,
work.
exactly. Chances are it has something to do with their phones or YouTube. Just saying, or an Xbox. That's the world we're living in right now. It is. So we can talk. I don't want to we could go down a rabbit hole with that, but that's a fix for them. If they scroll on social media and they're on TikTok,
Mhm.
or if they're on Snapping, or if they're snapping with their friends, like it or not, that's their dopamine fix.
Mhm.
Let them be, right? It's getting them back. They have to learn how to get themselves back to their work.
And they could set a timer, like you're allowed to Snapchat with your friends for 5 minutes and then back to
Exactly.
work.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll be like, oh, okay, I just saw that one today. It was really good, or what have you. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Most of my kids set their phones for their reminders, like set their alarms.
Kelly, if you could offer parents one brain hack, one actionable step that they can do right now, what would it be?
Oh, goodness. One thing I'm really working with, and it's helping immensely with my teenagers, and you can implement this as well, is putting a number to an assignment, breaking it down to be exceptionally specific. And what I mean by that is when your kid comes home, you say, what's your plan? I have to study, I have to write an English paper. Well, that's going to shut him down, right? So how would you be able to make that assignment easier? So what I ask my kids, do you want to write your paper, or would you like to write 5 sentences? What sounds better?
Mhm.
Oh, 5 sentences. Do you want to find all these sources, or would you like to find 3 sources? What sounds better? Oh, I can find 3 sources, right? Do you want to do all your algebra, or would you like to do 2 problems to get started? What sounds better? What helps you? What is more motivating? Always the number. So
Uh-huh.
when you put a number to it, like, and you have your child help them, just say, put a number to it, give them an example, right? It sounds more doable. 5 sentences versus a paragraph. In the ADHD brain, that just resonates. The more specific, they're going to think it's easier to do, and they can get it done.
That is such a great tip. Thank you.
That is like fairy dust. Literally.
Speaking, speaking of fairy dust, you are generously offering our audience an ADHD planner for teens. Can you
Yes.
tell us about that?
Yeah. So I have all these different systems that I use with teenagers, and I feel like I verbalize it. So basically breaking down, there's a worksheet, there's a planner. Okay, so what do you have in there? We have a worksheet to write down your to-dos, helping prioritize, which is really, really big, right? Getting stuck on what to do first. So there's a worksheet on prioritizing, there's a worksheet on time management, or like time blocking, big strategy, great platform to try that. There is something to, what's the other one? Oh, break it down. So everything from your like a master list to a daily list, right? And then figuring out what you want to do each day. There's a couple
That's
of
good.
little things in there and good little fun stuff as well. So
That sounds great. Like
yeah.
so helpful to help these teenagers get themselves organized. Thank
Yes.
you for offering that. And for
Absolutely.
parents who'd like to learn more from you, where can they find you on social media?
Yeah. So my Instagram is Teens with ADHD. I don't do Snap. I don't do TikTok. I'm not doing that. I'm probably one of the few that don't, but that's fine. I can only manage so much. And then I run a free parenting group in Facebook. It's called Parenting ADHD Teens. And you can find me there. I go live twice a week, depending on the comments or what I'm seeing in my teenage world. And it's a great place for me to serve and to be a supportive community for my people. So,
And it is a lovely community. It's
thank you.
amazing. And I love watching your lives. Like you're
Oh.
you're really you're really connected to your community. You're really watching what it is that they're interested in and what their questions are, and your lives really address that well. So thank you for that. As a mom of a teenager, I love learning from you too.
It's, and that's the other thing, guys. Like, I know the teenage world sort of rocks our world. It does. It continues to rock my world. Um, and we learn something new every day, I feel. And I think that um, enjoy your time with them. It's coming to an end soon when they're in your house 24/7. Some of us may be celebrating that, others of us may be crying about that, right? Don't sweat the small stuff, let some stuff go, and just connect with your teen outside of academics.
I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. Kelly, we have a saying in the ADHD village, find your people and love them hard. And I'm so thankful that I have found you and that you're a part of the ADHD village.
As well, Laura, thank you so much.
And parents, I invite you to keep this conversation going in my Facebook group, the ADHD Village. Under Kelly's thread, comment on what you learned today and how you will use this knowledge to boost dopamine in your family. Because remember, the dopamine menu can also work for you and all your other children, not just your teenagers.
Exactly. It's across the board, people.
Yeah. What will your next
Exactly.
step be? Everyone who comments on this thread will be entered in a draw to win the VIP All Access Pass, which includes access to all the interviews from the summit for 1 year, the action workbook, and the baddest 21-day challenge for kids. Thank you, parents, for watching this summit and spending this time with Kelly and I. It really does take a loving parent to make this commitment, to take the steps in creating your calm, confident, connected family. Sending you all lots of love.